Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We are talking candy-ass Miami Dolphins football today, Andy. This is going to be a very tricky one to sort through because, like, on paper, this is clearly the second best team in this division. They're currently rated by market third, but I think that reflects the reality of, like, with health and with a little bit of, just sort of, just quarterback health. With quarterback health, period. This team probably wins 8 or 9 games as their floor, and I think there's upside for 10. There's upside for being in the mix for a playoff spot, but it is impossible to consume NFL media this time of year and not be cognizant of the ongoing tire fire that is sort of the vibes around this team. And everybody kind of takes note to the potential floor falling out, the trapdoor downside potential. And it feels like the market is overcorrected for that possibility. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just is. Maybe this is one of those where, like, yeah, everybody saw it coming, and then the accident happened, and like, wow, just like we thought, that car crashed into the stanchion.
Remember when we got up at midnight and pulled the stop signs out of that intersection? Weird. Somebody crashed.
Weird.
So, and I think you need to kind of qualify the negativity, because I have plenty of negativity around this team.
Of course,
it is thin in all the wrong places, and obviously the most important position, the quarterback, has missed time every year. Ripped his hip off once, multiple concussions, some of the scariest concussions that we've seen just because of what his body decided to do immediately afterward. I mean, I'm never getting that picture of him fencing out of my head. That's wild stuff. And honestly, I read some good quotes from him in the preseason here, camp/preseason, because I remember we read quotes after one of the concussions, and I basically would say, "Oh, this guy's a moron," because he said, "I'm not going to change how I play. You know, this is football." And I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, like, shit happens, people get hurt. I can't change how I play football. That was a year or two ago, whatever it was. He had some pretty good quotes as far as, like, I'm getting older, I'm getting wiser. I understand this team cannot win without a quarterback, and I'm the quarterback, and I have to. He basically said, I have to play in a style where I'm available. So that was heartening if you're a Dolphins fan, that's what you wanted to hear after concussion 1. You know, I'm going to stop taking big hits. The problem with that is maybe a bottom 2 tackle duo in the world in front of him. Like,
sure.
Hey, there's going to be guys flying off the edges here. Sometimes it's just not your fault when you take a really big hit from behind. So such is life. But I liked reading that. Like I mentioned, some of the massive thinness besides quarterback is probably secondary. Probably some pieces on the defense. Definitely offensive line, very thin in some of the wrong spots. And there's just like everybody else this time of year, there's a lot of what ifs, including a 31-year-old speedster wide receiver who is in a weird spot, because we're also getting some of the reports of bit of a rift, and Tua calling him out, saying, hey, everyone has to be accountable if we want to win, and it being looked at as, hey, we're talking to you, Tyreek. And then on the same spot, Tyreek needs to play pretty good because it's essentially a contract year.
Yeah.
And he ain't getting 2 more. This is probably, he's looking at getting
I know what you're saying about the call out. Let's talk about that for just a hot second. Because, like, if you're the most highly paid player, if you're the leader, if you're the quarterback, and then the locker room is unhappy with the way that last season ended, which is 100% understandable.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing your job, right? Like this should happen. A little surprising the general manager didn't try to make a more sincere effort to get him off the team. But I think they're better with him. It's just you have to clear the air. Well, that's what he did. So I didn't really read that as like a oh yeah, oh everything's going great. Yeah,
this is fine.
Best shape of my life. Everybody, all the young players taking a step forward. Yeah, we're so happy to be here. And the Dolphins are, your number one and number two most important players on the team are having a public beat or vetting this. But I think that actually it felt
you're right. It's the right thing to do if you're a leader of this team. If you're a veteran quarterback at this point. I guess I didn't really verbalize what my take was. There was the guy's a wild card. How's he going to react to this?
That's a fair point.
That's like, how does he react? And how does anybody react to that? How does this particular person who's been known to have some issues on and off the field react to this? Plus, he has the other moving force against him where I need to have a big year. I want to get paid one more time. It sounds good. A 3-year contract somewhere, maybe here. I don't know. Probably not here, but a 3-year contract after this where I can get, one last dip into this money pool before I have to hey, I can only run 4 or 5. It's like, you're no good for us anymore. So it's a very weird dynamic around Tyreek. And I think that's something that and again, this is what this part of the year is for, is figuring out what to pay attention to. And I'm just trying to soak up quotes out of Miami, especially if we get any from those two, if we get any from McDaniel regarding that. So it's thrown a weird wrench into already a weird team.
Yeah. I think the two kind of the two similar teams for different reasons, but the ones where you really got to absorb the information right now to understand whether these are trending up or trending down. It's Miami and Minnesota for me. And with Minnesota, it's all about how the team in the 2 through 53, how do they feel about JJ and his progression? And for Miami, it's literally about 3 through 53. Like, are they happy with Tua as their leader and Tyreek as their go-to skill guy? But at the same time, the collective internet's opinion of Tua doesn't square with any of the data, period. The data says he is just flat out good. And
not great,
but
good.
Good
quarterback.
Good. And to your point about the head injury, because honestly, on the spot, make a market. What are the chances you see Tua fencing on national television again this year? Is probably like a -110 market. If and when that hit comes, it's going to happen again, and you just need to be prepared for it. But I thought the one thing that that really kind of one of my key takeaways really from last year. And again, this was a year where nothing went right for this team. Tua's still top 4 EPA per dropback, which is amazing. He was top 3 the year prior, and it was well, you got 17 starts out of the guy. Good luck getting that ever again. And sure enough, you only got 11 starts out of him last year. And the time he missed, the Dolphins were an abomination. They lost convincingly to the Titans in that game that had the most hilarious play of the entire season, which was the penalty on the failed onside kick attempt that was not announced. But the Tua, kind of key number that I can't stop looking at here is the time to throw. He had a bad offensive line last year. You had a Teron Armstead questionable if he was going to be available on a week-by-week basis, and the rest of that offensive line was just I don't believe in these guys. He managed to pull off a very positive season with 7.2 yards per attempt, despite 2.42 seconds average time to throw. That is unfathomably fast. getting the ball out of his hand. And like, if that was his adjustment to avoiding the hit, which is just like, the pressure's coming, I know it's coming, I don't care that it's coming, I'm just executing quickly. Like it worked.
It's a weird chicken and egg thing, because sometimes you look at time to throw and be like, oh, he's under pressure. But unless you sat and watched every snap or had some charting data, it's like, was he under pressure, or was it this is the game plan so he doesn't get murdered back there?
He was one of the lowest pressure rates of all.
Yeah, and
football.
if you watched Miami's games, or you paid attention, it was for sure the game plan. It was, we're getting rid of the ball quick, we're doing dink and dunk, and sometimes it killed drives, because teams that had, really, honestly, it was teams that had really good secondaries that could bring some people up that were just like, hey, guess what? This is a box safety that is going to ruin this play. And suddenly they're behind the sticks, and they try it again, and they're behind the sticks. And then you have a 3rd and long, which is death for, that kind of offense. But like you said, it worked. You had speedy players. You had a couple of good running backs. You had a tight end who was pretty productive, who's not on the team anymore. And it was fine. And then he got hurt. They were 2-4 in the games he was out. They just barely missed the playoffs. My only really takeaway besides the injury on last season was kind of embarrassing losing to the Jets at the end. In the long run, it didn't matter for the playoffs because of the Broncos Chiefs game, but they didn't know that. Like, that game was happening at the same time. I guess in the second half, they could have looked at the score at halftime and been like, oh, but still, like, losing to the Jets in that fashion where you had a chance to go to the playoffs was not great. And it's weird because, and this is where I put like a mental time marker, a flag in the ground. It doesn't seem that long ago when we had that 70-point game against.
It wasn't
Denver. No, 2 years.
Denver, who is now the consensus best defense in football, gave up 70 points to these guys.
I know, it's like after that game, everyone's like, holy shit, is it just finally clicking? Like, this is Mike McDaniel he's got his toys, he's got the scheme employed, he's got the pieces. This is just going to be a great offense. Mm-hmm. And then it's been very middling since.
There was one wrinkle which I wanted to ask your opinion on, which felt like a lot of what was, the key feature of the McDaniel's offense when he was lighting the league on fire in 23 was the pre-snap motion. It was confusing to defenders. It felt gimmicky. And I think the league passed a couple of rules to try to hamper him. And I think that the Dolphins offense was a little bit penalty happy, trying to kind of thread the needle of still doing some of the stuff that the league didn't want done anymore. And that end with a full off season of defensive coordinators kind of getting it and seeing what they were doing and being able to anticipate it. They were a little bit more prepared for it, I guess, in 24. But, it did kind of feel like if he is a bright young mind, of offensive mind, and this was his, my first trick, we're going to incorporate all of this insane pre-snap motion so that our speed guys already have speed going for them when the play starts, which helps us just supercharge our entire everything we're trying to do. Like,
I have a very strong take about this.
It was a great wrinkle, and we need to see your next trick, buddy, because I don't think that anyone's letting you do that anymore.
No, between the rule changes and the defense is catching up, it just felt like a masterful opening salvo in a chess game, and then he just, the guy sat there for 2 years and studied openings in chess. Doesn't have a middle game. Like, I've never gotten this far. Like, level 2. I don't know. The adjustments after that, and to be fair to him, some of the injuries that have he's been faced with as well. But it doesn't feel like the chess match between him and the defenses has gone his way after, like we said, that first little attempt at, changing how offense. Honestly, it was fun. And I mean, you talk about guys hitting the line with speed. How many Grey Cups could this guy win? 10? I mean, if
we may find out, Andy, because it doesn't feel like Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are on the same page.
No, I think he'll get an OC. It's funny, like who's hiring him as an OC next year? I mean, the year goes well, even if they don't make the playoffs. If it's in a competitive AFC, if they end up with a winning record, I think he has another year. But man, if things go real south, yeah, it's. Where's this guy going to be coordinating next year?
It'd be if in the absence of Ben Johnson, if the wheels fall off in Detroit, I'd love to see him as Detroit's OC next year, indoors on that fast track with those weapons. That's pretty sick. That would be pretty fun. I don't know. We're getting ahead of ourselves though, because I don't think
we already fired the coach.
They might win too many games to really make any changes. Because again, like if you get 17 games of Tua, like. That's a pretty high floor. And I think like there is a bit, and I'm going to end up, we've done a lot of the preview so far, Andy. I have not taken a lot of hard stands because in general, the market feels pretty goddamn finely tuned already. And maybe I'm the only person that feels that way, and other people are seeing edges and I'm not. But I haven't taken many stands until this week, where I do feel like there is a very long tail to the bad for the Jets. I think there is a market wild high expectations for the Patriots. And I think, honestly, the Jets and the Patriots are closer to each other than either of them is to the Dolphins on paper. And this is even understanding the fact that the Dolphins do not currently have a secondary. They're taking guys off the street who are stepping into the CB1 role. I understand.
Problematic, motherfucker.
I understand that. But guess what? You know what matters more than who is your CB1, CB2? Who's your quarterback? What are your weapons? Is your offensive? Do you have an offensive scheme that is viable in today's NFL? And they still answer all of those questions with a affirmative, like, yeah, no, we are in better shape than the Jets. We are in better shape than the Patriots. The Patriots have a lot to prove to me still, and you cannot tell me with high confidence that Tua is not a clear class above Drake May right now.
No. And just, spoiler alert. We're doing this on Tuesday. My number disagrees with that.
Yes,
not by a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, I cannot forward. I don't want to ruin tomorrow's, but I cannot forward cast Drake May just as like, hey, guess what? He's better than Tua. Even if I build in like 30% chance Tua misses a third of the season, he could get there, but it was glimpses and flashes, not 10 games of above average quarterback play. They didn't put enough around him. Like, this is still Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I know they've been injured, but heading into week 1, they're not injured. Neither is, Tua. And when you're making these market ratings, you can't be building it for what ifs at this point. You're building it as like, how do I think this team performs right now when they go on the field in week 1? And with everybody healthy, this is the best wide receiver room in the division.
Yeah.
This is the second best quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
This is one of the best running backs in Devon Achane in the division. Like, sure. It's pretty okay on offense outside of the tackles.
But in that, and remains to be seen if that matters. I want to address Birdie's thought here. So they haven't beaten anyone good in the second half of seasons. If they make it to the playoffs, oh baby, we got ourselves a hot fade wildcard weekend. Like, I'm not going to war with these clowns in January. No fucking way. I'm talking about just like there are clearly, in my opinion, 6 of their first 8 games, and we'll get to this in more detail when we get to their schedule. 6 of their first 8 games where they have the better quarterback, the better coordinator, the better weapons. Their offense is clearly the better team. 6 of their first 8. Like, if Tua is healthy through that stretch of football, like these guys are going to be like 6-2, 5-3 at their, once we get to the turn for November. And then like, there's really like, I guess where I'm at is this is a pretty easy schedule. Like they can get to 10 wins, particularly if they are better than the Patriots and the Jets. And I think they are, which to me makes them like a pretty clear alt over swing at the type of prices that we're getting. And this is directly correlated with alt unders on the Patriots, alt unders on the Jets. And I think ultimately we need to just square the fact that there is a real world where the trapdoor opens and this Dolphins team is a garbage, is the type of team that lost to the Tennessee Titans last year, and McDaniel is gone early, and this is a hard reset year for them next year. But to me, that requires a Tua head injury that takes him out for half the season.
I think there is one more path to that, and it's just the secondary is so bad that it takes away from the strength, which is, the front seven, and some of the pass rushers are able to rotate through there. That the defense is just bottom three, and unless you're getting top 20 percentile performances every single week from the offense, they're losing games in the style of the Bengals, where it's like, hey, this team is worse than us, but their defense is middle of the pack, their offense is middle of the pack, and their offense still just put up the 17th ranked offense just put up 31 points on us.
Here's the thing though, Andy, the Bengals won 9 games last year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it could end up like that, and it depends on the coin flips. That's right. I agree with you. It's an alt over, alt under team. Like I kind of like both.
Oh, here you go. You ready? The Dolphins over 9.5 wins, plus 316 right now. Bengals over 9.5 wins, minus 108. Explain that to me.
I mean, the Dolphins
Burrow's a little better.
Go look at that.
Burrow's a little better, but his efficiency is not meaningfully better.
You could be sitting at 8 games for a while. And
yeah, you're gonna lose that Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington run. That's not gonna be good. That's not gonna be fun.
Yeah, as Dave's pointing out, it's pretty lopsided. I think it's a good maybe a good spot to look at in-season stuff. I do like the alt under here just because I think there's a chance that, hey, this defense is bad. We jettison a defensive coordinator partway through the season, one injury on the offense or the offensive line, and the team is really struggling to make it. And we've seen it. It hasn't been able to adjust. Even with the strong names, the offense hasn't been able to adjust to what some of these defenses done. So it's a weird team because it feels like so often this is a middling team. This is an 8, 9, 10 win team. But it also, just looking at the schedule and the roster, it feels alt overish, alt underish.
Yeah, and honestly, the prices on the alt unders have completely gotten away. You're only getting plus 110 for under 7.5, which again, like that speaks to the asymmetry of, because like the one thing that I think is a really relatively low likelihood is Tua is healthy and he sucks.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem. If that's true, he's not healthy.
Yeah,
that's another scenario where Tua is hurt, but he's not hurt bad enough, and that's maybe, and that's maybe worse than Zach Wilson playing.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Let's talk about their offseason, which was very, very active. This roster has seen a lot of turnover. Jalen Ramsey no longer.
They got young.
No longer available for your secondary. You did bring back Minkah Fitzpatrick, and
that's a weird dynamic, right?
Yeah, it is.
That wasn't a great parting. I don't know, great, but yeah, Jalen Ramsey is probably a big loss. Jonnu Smith, like I mentioned earlier, had a pretty good year. Javon Holland, he was kind of a nice veteran leader back there. He's with the Giants. Christian Wilkins, we mentioned. Oh, yeah, we mentioned him with the Raiders the other year. Like, just what this defense was last year and the year before, it's gotten consistently younger and probably worse unless some of these draft picks have kind of hit.
Yeah. I
don't know. I'm just thinking like 2 years ago how excited I was for this defense, and injuries really sapped that away from me. But
yeah, I mean, like Jalen Phillips was on the cusp of breakout stuff, and now he's missed 2 years in a row effectively with the Achilles and then the re-injury.
Yeah.
Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, he looked just awesome before any of that. Zach Seiler is a great player. I was a little surprised they went round one, Kenneth Grant for D line as opposed to addressing the offensive line. But again, like if your scheme doesn't require to have the quarterback with the ball in his hands more than 2.5 seconds, then you can prioritize other areas of your roster. Chop Robinson, good young player. Just in general, you have a very strong pass rush, in my opinion, but the coverage could be so bad. We're talking the same exact conversation we have about the Giants, which is if teams can create separation very quickly on you, then it doesn't matter if you have the world's best pass rush, they're not getting home. So,
like I said, Zach Wilson's on the team. He could do worse for a backup. James Daniels, good signing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guard, replacing, what was it, Robert Jones there. He's good pass block, good run block, better pass blocker, but still very good. He had an Achilles injury in like week 4 of last year, which apparently is early enough where they're very much expecting him to be fine. They signed Larry Borum as like a swing tackle. Nick Westbrook-Akini is now a depth at wide receiver, which again, he could do worse for depth. There's a lot of teams that don't have a backup wide receiver of his caliber.
Mm-hmm.
There's Artie Burns is on the team.
He's on the IR.
He's on the IR. He's part of the problem where there's of the depth because he's on the team, but he's on the IR. Mike Hilton, who's actually Mike Hilton's a good player. It's just he's gotten slow. He can't play. He can't man cover. But if you know how to use him, Mike Hilton's the best player in your secondary. I don't know. I like Minka. I'm fine. But Mike Hilton's, we'll see. Mike Hilton's not young anymore. They did sign Jack Jones as well. He, if you remember, he brought guns to an airport.
He did.
He's a bit of a questionable character.
He's a bit of a wild card.
Decision making. He's been released from a couple teams with unceremoniously, but that speaks to
he also wasn't very good last year. I remember.
No, it's been downhill. But you have Storm Duck and Kader Kohu as your starting corners, which is bad, and Kohu's kind of banged up now, so they're signing. Hey, bring in anybody right now, and then at the same time, you traded assets for a tight end who was retired, Darren Waller, who is getting no good reports.
No,
he's not in game shape. Oh, weird, because he was retired. He's not ready to go. So they got Noah Fant visiting because otherwise Farrell Brown is our starting tight end at this point. So questionable decision making. And then you mentioned the draft, kind of ho-hum, especially after Kenneth Grant could be a great player. Huge dude, big, nose tackle type, 335 pounder. He can elevate, especially if he starts to develop some pass rush. They got that guard, Jonah. Fuck me. What? It's just like Tagliavoa. Sevenanea, Arizona guard, versatile, going to move inside. I think he played tackle, so moving inside is probably right if I'm remembering right. Essentially, you have to start. You're a starting guard right now, and then Jordan Phillips, another defensive tackle. And from there, it was depth at corner in the 5th round. A lot of they went from 7 to the 5th round. They didn't have much on day 2, so a lot of depth at that point after the first 2 picks, and no real changes to the coaching staff, I don't think, except it's a new special teams coordinator. Anthony Weaver
Ackerman is new.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm going to double check that while you're talking. Anthony Weaver, 2nd year, he was part, if you remember, of the mass exodus out of Baltimore when everybody hired Baltimore's coaches last year, and they lost their head coach and like 3 defensive coaches as well. So he's on the 2nd year as a DC down there.
Can I very, very short vote of confidence for Anthony Weaver? The performance of the Dolphins defense last year, considering the injuries they had and the clear and obvious holes on what is a weakling system, was, I thought, pretty outstanding.
Agree.
I kind of don't know how he did it. So yeah, year 2. I know he's going to have to, again, like, for your next trick, you now do it without a secondary. It could go sideways, but I don't know. I kind of dig him.
I'm on Ackerman's Wikipedia, and I do have to read something because I didn't have a great.
Special teams coach Greg Ackerman.
Okay. Yeah, nothing weird, but just I'm like, oh, he wasn't with anyone last year. So before that he was the Titans special teams coordinator for 5 years with Vrabel. Ackerman was fired following a disastrous 31-28 Week 13 overtime loss to the Colts. The game featured a critical missed extra point attempt and 2 consecutive punts being blocked. The first of which was returned for a touchdown, while the second resulted in a season-ending injury for the punter. I remember this. And then they just, all right, we can't have 2 straight punts block, a touchdown, and a season-ending injury. You're hitting the bricks.
That is the single worst coordinated game by a special teams coordinator ever. It has to be.
I don't know. It feels like there's some Packers games in there that might give it. But either way, that's who's your new. And to your point with Weaver, he did a lot with some pretty bad injuries last year. If you go look into the advanced stats, this defense overperformed, I believe.
Oh yeah, I thought in my opinion, like significantly, like their pressure rates, their EPA allowed, all of it was like, man, like, wow, these guys were good. Let me go look at their roster. I forgot they must have had some good play. Huh? With these guys? They did that with these guys? Like, that was kind of the overall feeling I had. Reviewing the 2014. So
Frank Smith, the OC, I believe, is the brother of Aaron Rodgers' new wife, because I couldn't tell you that this guy exists. It's just like, it's so weird. These OCs that are on a team with a play calling head coach, like they kind of just get forgotten. But someday,
that's fair. Frank Smith, one of these days. He's not part of the FedEx family fortune.
I do not believe so. There's a lot of Smiths.
It's a tough break for him. All right. So I got no other thoughts. Let's look at the schedule. Keep cooking here. Why did that happen?
I don't know. I don't want to be like that.
There we go. The Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, got a fairly easy schedule. Outside your 2 games against Buffalo, which are obviously going to be tough, and your game against Baltimore, which ironically is in your house in primetime. There are a lot of winnable games on here. 3 straight home games. Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington is kind of make or break your season, in my opinion, at least in terms of make or miss the playoffs. If you win one of those 3, then you're in a nice position. I guess I should say 3 straight home games, because the Washington game would have been a home game, but it's international. I am now seeing that one is in Madrid, I think. Do you have that correct? First ever NFL game being played in España.
That's at the Bernabeu, Santiago Bernabeu, which is, I think, Real Madrid's stadium. So that'll be kind of cool.
Okay. So yeah, those 3 games, in my opinion, at least make or break your season. I think you're, I guess, beyond just keeping your quarterback healthy. If you can take
2 of the best teams in your, good luck though.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck. But again, like, there's not a lot of elite defenses on here. Who's the best defense on this schedule, in your opinion?
I guess it's just some of the defensive it's some of the defensive matchups. Like, hey, there's a game at Pittsburgh that should be a coin flip game, but if your tackles truly play as bad as it looks like they might, it's Highsmith and Watt like high-fiving over to his body repeatedly. And, I guess Tampa and there's a bunch of these that are more predicated on interior pressure, which maybe is your strength. When we get to it, I think you have a good center and a good guard, and then you have a rookie guard, which yet to be seen. New England is a much improved front seven. That probably isn't a gimme, either one of those. There's some tough players. Indy has a couple. The Chargers, I guess you play Cleveland.
Cleveland's tough defense, but
there's at least one good pass rusher.
How many points do you need to score at Cleveland to win that game?
Like 17.
That sounds right to me. I don't know, man. This is tricky because
the Jets, I think that was a strength of theirs. You gave the Jets a pretty good rating on their pass rush. You got to play them twice.
Yeah, but again, like, how many points do you need to score to beat the Jets?
That point in the season, 17.
Yeah. All right. So here's the real kind of major takeaway for me is weeks 1 through 8. Those first 8 weeks of the season, outside of the week 3 TNF game at Buffalo, you clearly, in my opinion, have the better quarterback and weapons than Indy, New England, the Jets, the Panthers. Debatable about quarterback, obviously, for the Chargers, but you surely have better weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland and Atlanta. If you can win,
I'm going to push back a little. Who do you have penciled in starting for Cleveland? I'm kidding. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Trick question. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think realistically, you can win 6 of those 8 games.
If you want to make the playoffs, you kind of have to.
Yeah, surely. But 6-2 start. And again, like at that time, it's going to feel like deja vu over again because they're going to go from 6-2 right into absolute hell of a Thursday night football game against Baltimore, a Sunday night or a Sunday day test of Buffalo. So they could have 2 bad losses and then an international all eyes on game against Jaden Daniels. So you play 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in consecutive weeks in the middle there. So 6-2 could turn into 6-5 pretty quick.
There's a lot of 3 MVP trophies and a Rookie of the Year in there.
I think realistically though, you get those wins against the Saints and the Jets if Tua is healthy, and then you're 8-5. And to get to 10 wins, then you just have to win 2 of your final 4, which includes games against a lot of teams that are flawed. Honestly. And Tampa's probably the toughest of those. I don't think necessarily Tampa in Miami is a 1.5 point close. That's probably Tampa closes small favorite. But Pittsburgh, Cincy, New England, you're going to need to win 2 of those games to get to 10 wins and get in the playoffs, in my opinion. And I think you can do
it. And the pushback there is definitely the snowflakes on your schedule thing.
Sure.
Going early December in the Meadowlands, middle December in Allegheny County, and then
at night.
January, at night, which is a very good atmosphere, and then at Gillette to end the season Sunday, which will be afternoon, but it can be real cold. And this is a warm weather team, warm weather quarterback. Maybe I guess Zach Wilson can probably handle those temps. He'll be fine. It's a very weird schedule because it's easy-ish, and then you get punched in the dick for 3 weeks. You get a week off to lick your wounds, and then there's a scheduled win and 5 coin flips.
Yeah, 5 primetime games and an international game, so 6 standalone for the Miami Dolphins this year.
I think it's very reductive and kind of a lazy take to say it depends on the coin flips because that's every team. But man, when the coin flips are like that 5 in a row to end the season, it makes it really hard to predict because, if Cincinnati's defense improves by 20%, you're a field goal favorite or a field goal dog there. Basically, if you get what you get out of that offense and that defense is somehow improved, which sometimes that shit just happens. It doesn't look great right now when we're looking at that roster, but if Cincinnati's defense is an absolute dog shit, you lose that game. If Pittsburgh gets anything out of a million-year-old Rodgers, you lose that game. Tampa Bay is a Tampa Bay could just keep trucking and be a very good team. And, it could go downhill. So I think it's going to be real dicey with this team throughout the whole season. And that's why it's been so tricky to look at, how to predict it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I don't know what Spain is like in November.
Do you see an easy and obvious circle spot to utilize Miami in Survivor?
Probably 13. I mean,
13?
You got the Jets.
You're saving them?
You get the Jets game early. I think this is a team that's very much on the cusp. If you are in the Circa Survivor, it's very much on the cusp of a don't use, where there's probably like 6 or 7 teams where it's like, I'm not using these. And then there's another 10 teams where I'm using half of these. And Miami's definitely in that chunk where if you didn't use them at all, such is life, I guess. It's not a must use, but at home versus New Orleans late in the season, when that team could be, at that point, maybe packing it in, trying to figure out what the hell, maybe looking ahead to the first overall pick. And, I don't love the matchup against the Jets because of the pass rush, but that's a home game. Jets. It does suck it's night because I do like, early in the season, we talked about it. I love that. Put them on the sideline that's hot, make them miserable, take it. You've seen it for years. New England, really good New England teams going down there and just struggling.
Yeah.
And the Jets are not the New England dynasty.
The best was the Denver game, which was Denver had 2 weeks in a row at home. So they were elevation, just, darlings, and, hadn't left the state of Denver the state of Colorado for, 4 weeks, and then had to play in the Miami Heat in week 3 when that defense wilted and conceded 70. That was fun. Anyway, I think this team has, with health contingent, has 9-10 wins on this schedule personally. And I think that as far as range of outcomes go, Miami has to be in the conversation for the broadest because an injury to Tua is as likely or more likely than any other quarterback in football. Would you agree?
Yeah. Between his injury and the tackles, yeah.
And that specifically takes you from a middling NFL team to a poor NFL team, considering all of your other weaknesses.
Yeah, I think if Tua gets hurt, Tyreek has to fake an injury. Like, oh, man. Ankle.
Yeah.
I can't get hurt this year.
I kind of like that week 4 spot for Survivor, by the way, Miami versus the Jets, even though it is a divisional game. The fact that it's a Monday Night Football game is fun because if that's like a chaotic week and there's not a good pick otherwise, Monday Night Football is always a fun place to put your Survivor fortunes for, hedging reasons, obviously, or just playing defense if you are, someone who does that. Anyway, sign up for Circa Survivor.
Don't forget, sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere, guys. Sign up for millions, sign up for Survivor, and then sign up for both of them again, 10 times each. You know the drill.
Yeah.
Bring your cash, get to Vegas.
As it stands right now,
2 weeks.
I'm going to be using the Dolphins a lot in the millions too, early in the season, I think.
I think just the way the market's against them and the fact that those are, like you said, those are games where you have advantages.
Yeah.
It's not it's not that nasty middle stretch where if those, those middle games, if they lose those by 21 each, oh well. The odds of you winning 2 out of 3 of those weren't good anyway. You got beat up by some really good teams. That happens.
Just for the record, Miami has flipped favorite in that Colts game. I made these graphics a long, long time ago. And even as cool as the market is on the Dolphins, it turns out it's even colder on the Colts. Miami -1.5, -108 is your current price in that week 1 tilt. All right. Let's go through ratings here. Quarterback OC for me was pretty high. Again, I can't believe I'm on this podcast singing the praises of Tua Tagovailoa, but here we are. I have a 6.9 out of 10 for QB OC. That is good enough for Sorry, I'm looking for my rank. That is good enough for 7th best among all quarterbacks that I did these numbers with. And that actually was including throwing a little cold water on the process that I did everybody else, because if you just are basing it on EPA per play, normalized, whatever, defense adjusted, whatever you're doing with the EPA data, you cannot dispute the fact that Tua is deadly efficient.
He is, and I threw cold water on it because of McDaniel.
Sure.
It felt very one tricky last year, where it's like, hey, we're just going to get it out fast, and if you can beat that, the offense might not move. If we have any injuries, and they did, especially over the last couple of years, to running back, that takes away a dynamic we're very much needing to use. The get the ball to somebody fast in space and let it figure itself out. So I'm at a 5.5. If I was just grading Tua, I think I'd be at like a 6.25. But
okay.
My love affair with Mike McDaniel is over.
It's cool. It's over. Yeah, you guys have cooled.
Very cool. Very cool.
Skill position group for me, everything looks great to me except for tight end. I'm at 6.5.
Oh, 6.
Okay.
You could do.
Worried about depth?
Depth at probably running back.
Okay.
Who's the guy they used to have that's driving me nuts?
Raheem Mostert is gone. This is now Jalen Wright is now RB2 with a
people
bullet.
Loved him. The people who do best ball and just have these 3rd, 4th running backs on the roster they're in love with from like March until camp, and then they don't play that much. They were big. We were very much in love with Jalen Wright last year. Very fast guy, same kind of guy. I don't love that, especially considering your strength is probably going to be power, because you have a good guard, good center, and presumably a good rookie guard, hopefully. And you have weakness on the outside of the line, and we have fast running backs. So I don't love the roster build as far as that goes, but yeah, Waddle and Tyreek, you can do a lot worse. Tight end is an absolute dumpster fire. Achan's good.
We don't think. I mean, Waller's not making this team. Who are we kidding?
Man, they traded assets for him. That's, I guess, maybe that would be very funny.
They're gonna pick up some tight end who gets cut somewhere else.
They are. I mean, they already have had, like I said, they have. Noah Fant has visited.
They're seeing what they got there. Yeah. My offensive line rating is bad. Where are you?
2.75.
Okay. You're better than me. I'm 2.5.
Well,
2.75.
I thought I was being too hard. This is a group. It's a group worth talking about. Left tackle, you got Patrick Paul, 2nd year. His PFF grade over like 400 snaps was where was it? 44.9. And I know PFF isn't the end all be all, but if you watched, he was not Armstead when he stepped in. Can't pass pro. Pass pro is very, very bad. That's an issue. On the other side, Austin Jackson coming off a knee injury. Average is like his ceiling. And so he's average at best, plus coming off an injury. And then, like I mentioned, they traded, it was a free agent signing for James Daniels. Very good left guard. This is your best player on your line. Aaron Brewer was a free agent last year from Tennessee. That he was a very good run blocker. Like I mentioned, you have strength run blocking on the left side center there. He's okay in pass pro, but it's a good center. And then the rookie that you drafted, 7A and A, is going to transition to guard and start immediately, because you have Larry Borum and Daniel Brunskill, which are nice. They're nice guys to have as far as some of their positional flexibility, but there's not a ton.
They're not very good. What's the injury? What's your injury
on Eichenberg?
Report on Eichenberg. I think he's the best of the guy. He can step up and do a lot if he's needed. And I think he kind of does a nice job of backfilling your interior if needed, if he's healthy, but I have no clue.
I think this was a little more long-term.
Yeah.
It was just like, I think he's starting on PUP. I have him not playing to start. I don't have him in my lineup or depth right now.
Okay.
But they did get him. They did want to re-sign him. I remember they did re-sign him to be like, we need depth here, we need help, and probably some leadership.
Okay. Liam Eichenberg injury will cost him weeks of action, according to the Finsider. He's rehabbing a recent injury? What the hell? What the hell happened to him? They put him on the PUP and signed Brunskill. So not great. All right, whatever the case is, if he is at some point available, he's a perfectly fine backup, but we're not counting.
Oh, I have it. The injury is undisclosed. I know. I'm like, now it's coming because as I'm making these notes the other day, I just didn't find shit, and it drives you nuts. And
yeah,
I need to write "didn't find shit" so I don't sit and look for it during the podcast again. But it sounds like he's missing time.
All right, all told, with the shade on the offensive line, I'm at the 12th best offense in football.
16.
Your thoughts?
16 for me.
Okay, because you're cool. You're cooler. You're just flat out cooler on Mike McDaniel. I think that's the really difference here. Okay.
I just hate watching a left-hander throw. There's some aesthetic downgrade.
I think that we all agree on that. Miami defense, pretty good run stop. I gave them a 5.4. Where are you? I like their linebacking group, actually. This is a decent linebacking group. Brooks, good. Dodson, fine. That's about all I have to say about that.
Yeah, Dodson is fine, average to slightly above average. Jordan Brooks is good, and then it just remains to see, what we get from. God, is it Benito Jones? I don't know. The interior is a little the interior / Kenneth Grant is a bit of a mystery for me.
Benito Jones played pretty well last year. You got
I have
starts out of him, and he was actually really effective.
I have him middling. I don't have him as a negative, but I have him as a neutral, and then you have a rookie starting up front as well.
Yeah, it's true.
With Jordan Phillips, probably his depth, who's another rookie. So
okay.
I'm just at a 5. Good numbers last year. Willing to move this up, but I think some of the losses at secondary also affect this.
Are we going to see Melifonwu up the spine at any point in time, or is he another long-term injury?
I think that was pretty bad at the end. Was that a foot injury? Melifonwu. I have him out for foreseeable future.
I have the injury undisclosed. He is on the active non-football injury list. Don't know.
What was his injury last year at Detroit? I think he started the season with an injury last year at Detroit, which I guess deja vu. It was dislocated something.
Ankle injury in training camp.
And then he dislocated a finger that he had to have surgery on that finger.
Yep, finger. Yep. He's had it. Yeah, I think it's the ankle that's bothering him now. We'll see. Frustrating start to the season for Melifonwu last year.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. All right. Run stop for me still, though, is a positive number. I'm at 5.4. Pass rush for me is a 6. A lot of interesting pieces here. Ultimately may not matter, but I like what they've got in-house. Where are you?
I was also at a 6. I really like Zach Sealer. I think Chop Robinson, we haven't seen the best of him yet, and we saw some pretty good play. You got Jalen Phillips. Definitely haven't seen the best of him because he just can't stay on the field yet. I think Quentin, where's Quentin Bell fitting in this whole thing? I think he's probably behind Chubb, but I think he'll probably play. So there's a bunch of guys rotating through that are very much pluses on the pass rush. It's a 6.
Yep. Okay.
Zach Sealer.
You like that guy. Seiler? Anyway,
I'm gonna go Sealer.
Coverage for me is a 2.1. And if it was not for Minkah Fitzpatrick, this would be one of the first ones that we have actively advocated for thus far. But am I being too harsh? I don't even like Kohu. and he's your best. He's your best secondary player,
and he's banged up right now.
He's banged up.
He's another one where it's like, hey, it's an undisclosed injury in camp, and he's not practicing as much as he should right now, which is why we signed Mike Hilton. You were rosier than me. I had a 2 flat.
Okay.
And the more I looked at it, it's like, yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick's good. Mike Hilton was good. Jack Jones might stay out of jail. When you have a troubled guy like that who's had issues with the law and authority and showing up to practice, you better get him down to South Beach and get him on a team with Tyreek.
There we go. Now we're talking.
That'll straighten him out. But Storm Duck, Cam Smith, not the golfer, Jason Marshall Jr. These are guys that are competing for starting roles in your cornerback room. It is probably the weakest 1-2-3 cornerback in the league, and only buoyed a little by the fact that Minka Fitzpatrick is on this team.
I give that a puke.
And it's not like Minka Fitzpatrick is like a top safety. He's just good.
He's good. He's good,
not great.
He should probably create some turnovers. So
can't let Eli Apple out the door. Honestly, I would take an Eli Apple right now.
Yeah, he's in Niners camp now. Did you see that? All right. Again, like fatal flaw with the offensive line, still the 12th best offense. Fatal flaw with the coverage, still the 22nd best defense for me. So, I will revisit all of this if Anthony Weaver is able to create more magic. Got to see it. Where are you with the Dolphins special teams and their newly hired special teams coordinator, Craig Ackerman?
This was an okay special teams, but he's definitely not a plus. I'm at a 4.5.
Who wins the punter battle between Ryan Stonehouse and Jake Bailey, you think?
Can you imagine being Ryan Stonehouse? Because Ackerman's the guy who got you hurt. I mean, you can't put it on the coach. He was the punter who suffered the season-ending injury in that game that got Ackerman fired.
I didn't know that was the guy.
Yeah, I didn't mention his name when I was reading because I was trying to have some brevity there, which I'm killing now by explaining it. But it was Stonehouse because he was with Tennessee.
All right.
So I would assume
that's fascinating.
Stonehouse probably has the inside track.
They signed him after hiring Ackerman, so there must have been like hey, I'll do you a solid and make sure we get you a job.
Hey, remember when I get you hurt real bad?
Yeah, well now you got a job. You're welcome. Where are you for intangibles for these guys? This one was tough, honestly.
I lost my tab. Intangibles. So I already deducted McDaniel, the OC. I think McDaniel, the coach, as far as in-game aggressiveness, in-game forward thinking, and maybe even adjustments is a plus. But I don't value him as a leader as much as maybe we did when he first took this job. It's a 5.
Yeah, his aggressiveness rating fell a little bit off of a cliff. He was the 25th most aggressive coach by Aaron Schatz's numbers, which is not great. I remember him being much more aggressive in years past, but some of that might have just been situation. Who knows? But I'm down at a 3.5 here for intangibles.
Yeah, I think some of that might be, hey, Skylar Thompson's your quarterback right now.
It's possible.
We can't run the good 4th down plays.
That's very possible. Miami's ultimate score for me is a 0.91. I'm guessing you're at or below the 500 line.
Yes, I'm negative 0.62 for my final rating. I have them as roughly a 48th percentile team right now.
Okay. They are the 17th best team for me at a 0.91, which means more than half my teams are positive numbers now. My average power number across the NFL is 0.3, but I think my median, that I have a cluster of just very low numbers for the bads.
I'm dying to see what your number on New Orleans is. Mine's pretty funny.
We'll keep people in suspense. It's lower than any number I had of any team last year as I'm looking at my preseason numbers.
I have my number.
New Orleans would be dogs to every team this year and last year on a neutral by my numbers. All right. We are disrespecting Mr. Storm Duck. I hope Storm Duck becomes a household name, not for unfortunate reasons. I hope he develops into a good.
I have player. New Orleans as on a neutral, a 0.5-point dog to the Michigan Panthers, the UFL team.
Wow!
I don't keep UFL numbers. I just want to shit on the Saints. Saints are taking their medicine. We talked about it for 10 years. Like, hey, how's this going to work out in the long run? Everybody takes their medicine.
We also talked about how the Miami Dolphins regular season win total now is effectively 7.5. It's minus 135 to the over, plus 110 to the under. I have played some over 9.5 at plus 316. Not a big play, but I do think, again, like if Tua stays healthy, this is a 10-win team, and therefore plus 316. I cannot walk away from it. I would not get interested at all in any of their odds to win. I do not think they can beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East unless Josh Allen gets hit by a truck. And even then, RIP truck. I think I think the make the playoff odds are not good enough.
That cracked me up.
Yes, plus 198. Interesting, because they could be a 9-win team that gets the 7th seed. But I think the upside of 10 wins at plus 316 is too good to pass. Andy, you got anything superlative or especially negative to bet with these guys?
Like you said, I was very low on them early months ago, and that market got beat up. You know, it's I think if you want to go negative on this team, you got to go uber
first
negative,
coach fired.
like worst
first
record.
Coach fired.
Yeah, first coach fired, worst record. Exact finish. You could go, Bills, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, something like that, where it's like, hey, if they get injured, they could, if Tua misses time or this defense is just that bad, it could be a team that finishes behind the Jets somehow. And you should get a price on that.
The other side of the coin for over 9.5 wins at plus 316 is McDaniel first coach at 5. Right?
Yeah. Is he favorite or second favorite?
Second choice after Dable. But we know what day Dable's getting fired. It's January 12th or whatever, though.
Yeah, why would you do it mid-season? If it's going bad, just
Brian Dable's getting fired on January 5th, 2026. We know that. McDaniel could get fired before that. Miami has that stretch of Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington, and then the bye. He could very well leave him on the tarmac, give him a week to enjoy himself in Madrid. Go take a weekend, beat the buddy, get your mojo back. If the first 8 weeks do not go well and they're 2-6 instead of 6-2, and then they go through that stretch where they get their brains beat in by Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington, like McDaniel ejected, first coach fired, very, very, very plausible to me. Greer and McDaniel are clearly not on the same page. I do not think these guys have the same kind of current vision of how to build this roster and run this team, and that is concerning.
Is this year 4 for McDaniel? Did he start in 23 or 24?
22, 23, 24. 22. This is year 4.
I'm just looking because I knew they'd made the playoffs 2 of the past 3 years. So one of those years they lost to the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo.
Hard-fought loss with the backup quarterback.
I was going to say the 31-34 loss was with Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, hard-fought loss.
And the 26-7 loss was with Tua. Tua had a bad game.
But it was also 400 degrees below zero. Not sure that's possible.
And it only takes, if you go back from there, it only takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games to get back to a game where you played a team known as the Oakland Raiders.
Oof. Wow.
That was in 2000. Lost
Wow.
27-0 to who's the quarterback that day for the Raiders?
Gannon?
It was Gannon. Jay Fiedler, Rich Gannon.
What a war.
Gannon went 12 for 18.
Hmm.
Big
Wow.
day. All right. We'll be back. Hey, guess what? Scheduling alert. Double dip tomorrow. Drew has.
You want to do them both live, or do you want to save one and run it Thursday? Pretend that we're live.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, we're just doing both live.
Just do them both live. All right, let's do them both. We will do 2 shows tomorrow because Drew has something on Thursday, and guess what? Next week I have something on Thursday, so we're going to do 2 shows that week as well. So set aside 2. We're going to really try to keep it to an hour for both. Yeah. So we'll see you guys at that for
later.
The Patriots and the Bills.
I already spoke a bunch of that.
What was your thing tomorrow? Is it work? What are you doing
on Thursday? Oh, driving up to I'll be up in Mammoth, Eastern Sierras. I'll be out in the wilderness, hopefully avoiding bears.